It wasn't that long ago we were on the channel talking about how Everton could just be flying under the radar and how they could perhaps be the shock team that breaks maybe not just even into the top 10 but into those European spots. The first match day of the season didn't quite go according to script and they will definitely feel hard done to, but they have followed that up in quick succession. Off the back of signing Jack Grealish, they are now bringing in Jay Tyler Dibling. In the last video that we did on Everton, where we're looking at the domino effect, the consequences of these players coming into the Everton team, and now that they're both in the building and we've seen two games thrash out, especially with Everton unveiling their new stadium, which by the way I was blown away by. Talk about a footballing tempo, and with the Moyes in the dugout, it feels like maybe all the prophets are lining up here and Everton really could be delivering this year. I don't think they're under the radar anymore, but I think they're very much on the scene. At any point in the video, if you laugh, you learn, you like something or whatever, please like and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Get into the comment section, guys, and let me know where you think Everton are going to end up this season. Are they flattering to deceive, or are they going to be the real deal? Looking forward to seeing your thoughts and feelings. But yeah, let's just get stuck straight into this one, because the last time we were looking at Everton, I must say, by the way, I was doing it from, and again on the channel I'm very transparent with how close I am to certain players and teams and situations or whatever, and I was talking about how I really liked the kind of the A and the B situation that Everton had in defence. A lot of you guys, the worries you had, the Everton fans that tuned into the video about right back, is very much now front and centre. I can see what you're talking about here, with Jake O'Brien being required to play out in right back here. The rumours are that Patterson is going to go to Sevilla and Everton are looking for an right back, so there's definitely still some work to be done on that area of the pitch. And if we think about O'Brien coming back in here as centre back depth, I stand by, the defence is pretty solid, pretty robust, and for the fixture, intensity that Everton are going to have this year with the league and cups and whatever, the defence of the goalkeeper situation is really good, especially once they get this right back thing really sorted. But for me, really, especially when I watched the Leeds match and obviously the game against Brighton at the weekend, the one thing that has really been clear to see, I think, for Everton is that the midfield is a proper engine room. Big Tim, I'm a fan of. Idrissa Gana Gueye, as we know, is a bit of a hero in the Premier League. And James Garner, I think every time I watch this guy, I think he gets a little bit better. He goes up in my estimation, certainly, on almost every performance. And this is a proper Phil Neville throwback of a player. He plays left back, he plays centre mid, he can play attacking mid. He kind of plays a little bit everywhere. Add into that the new signing of Kieran Dewsbury-Hall. The boy Alcaraz can play in a few different spots, whatever, but played number 10 beginning of the season. And the boy Armstrong, again, I'm not too sure where his actual position is, but the back line, the core, the spine of the team, all the way through the engine room here for Everton is very stable, very solid, and is a great platform to just sprinkle that dust on top of it, that magic dust, that stardust of some players that have that X factor on them that can win matches, that can unlock defences. And Jack Grealish has really hit the ground running in a big way this weekend with the Brighton match, getting himself 2 assists and showing himself to be back to his best self possible. And when you factor in Dwight McNeil in behind him as some depth for another option to rotate with, Iliman and Ndiaye, who is their key player really up to this point. Let's see how that changes, of course. And now adding in Tyler Dibling, who is very similar on the ball, aesthetics and technique and all the rest of it, as Jack Grealish. It really does feel that Everton are really opened up now, a real threat, a real route to go. Because the main, I know we're talking about right backs there at the beginning of the video, but the main thing that I think Everton have got a real head scratcher on is the strikers. Who is actually going to score them 15 goals this year in the league, or 20 goals in all competitions, however you want to think of it, to make these dreams, these aspirations that they've got for this year, first year under the new stadium, etc., actually come to fruition. And between Beto and Barry, I think they are going to be very much volume goal scorers. They're going to need enough chances to get up and running, to get themselves into form, to then score the goals that they need. And with Alcaraz's versatility, Jack Grealish's versatility, and Kieran Dewsbury-Hall, they've now got 3 really core players that can play in a multitude of different positions. And if we look at the team that went out to play against Brighton at the weekend, you can kind of see what I'm talking about here. I think Dewsbury-Hall is probably maximised in this number 10 position. I thought against Leeds especially, you could really feel that he was carrying a lot of the weight of the team, getting the club up there, getting the squad up the pitch, winning the ball back, and covered so much ground. It was great to see. Later in the match against Leeds, and even against Brighton, we find them deeper in the pitch later on. And it's when we find Dewsbury-Hall being a bit deeper is when some of these options open up and become a little bit more exciting, because Jack Grealish can certainly play in the number 10 position. Iliman Ndiaye is very comfortable coming off both sides of the wing here. And if we think about his best position, or the most common position I'd certainly see him getting played in when I'm looking at this from a distance, is on the left here. It then gives all the opportunity you probably want to get someone like Jay Tyler Dibling coming down the right, cutting in on that left foot. And looking at this as an attacking trident, you know, Jack Grealish with the freedom to roam and overlap in wide areas and create from wherever he seems fit, with this really solid engine room in and behind him, with the back, you know, the left back situation is another thing, isn't it? But we've already spoke about the defence in general. It really feels now that Everton are ready to go and create enough chances now where the likes of Barry and Beto will really now need to have the answers to the questions. Are they going to be good enough? Are they going to fire Everton into the top half of the league and push for those, you know, European positions? Even at that, you know, it's not out the realms of possibility we could see some sort of other solution maybe being worked on. I'm not too sure if Ndiaye has really got it to lead the line and run the channels. Same with Grealish, who knows about Dibling. But, you know, Everton have got the opportunity to really mix it up in a variety of different ways, whether it is starting with Big Tim, Idrissa Ganagay, and then Dewsbury-Hall, who can sit in and push forward, and even James Garner potentially coming back into the midfield area once left back is sorted. David Moyes and Everton now have all the tools at their disposal they need, and that's what this really looks like for so many managers in the league when they talk about having the tools at their disposal, so that, hey, if they're at home and they should dominate the ball, we'll play Dewsbury-Hall in the number 10. Do you know what? We're away from home. We're probably not going to dominate the ball, but we're playing against a team that we really should be getting the better of. Let's put Dewsbury-Hall in the engine room. Let's get Dibling on and try and give ourselves a bit more pace and transition, so that when we are being Everton and we're being David Moyes' team and we're being tight and narrow defensively and we're giving nothing away and all the rest of it, we've got both sides of the pitch to now escape out of, rather than just the one, if that makes sense. So home away against big teams, against teams that Everton should dominate, I really think that Tyler Dibling and Jack Grealish have really, you know, brought the party, brought the pieces, the missing pieces of the puzzle that Everton need here. And now it's a little bit of a formality, I think, isn't it? Maybe a little bit of cover at left back for Michaelenko, as well as an actual right back coming into the squad. And then you could say, do you know what? This Everton team, man for man on the best 11, should be competing week in, week out against the top teams in the division to push in to those European spots again. At that point, I think it is still jury's out on the striker options for who is going to come good, who is going to lead the line, who is going to be the man that scores Everton those 15 to 20 goals a season in all competitions. But you never know, the way Everton have been spending, the way they've been moving in the transfer market, I wouldn't rule out maybe another striker coming in. Maybe a little bit of a different type, because Barry and Beto are both very much target men types, and maybe there could be a third striker get brought into the fold who, I know Alcaraz is like an attacking midfielder kind of type player. He's played on the wing, I think, already a little bit as well. But a guy like this is more of a striker, a guy that can foil off of in wide areas, and Ndiaye and Grealish and Dibling and whatever else can drop into those pockets and link up the play from the midfield coming out of the back, but also gets into the box, puts their body in where it hurts, is there for tap-ins and rebounds, or just clinically good goals in general anyway. I'm not saying that's going to be Alcaraz, but could there be somebody a bit more mobile, a bit more akin to that style of player, more of a flair forward rather than your big target man types, as it were, with Beto and Barry. And you know, top 10 in European qualification I think would be a good season, would be a successful season for Everton. But David Moyes has kind of been there, seen it, done it, got the t-shirt, and don't get me wrong, I don't think he's going to be turning his nose up at that. If anything, I do further highlight, I think that is going to be a stated objective internally at Everton that they'll be pushing towards, and I think their transfer business backs that up. But David Moyes really changed his image as a football manager, the legacy that he's leaving in the game, particularly in England, by winning the Europa Conference League with West Ham. And I do think that is unfinished business that he's got with Everton that he wants to make right. Now this year there is no European football, and I expect Everton to really push hard in the League Cup and in the FA Cup this year, particularly last year watching Newcastle and Crystal Palace lift trophies. David Moyes has kind of been there, done it. He knows how to get a team now through these tournament stages, get to finals, that sort of thing. And the connection he's already got with Everton, the squad he's built, the versatility that's in the squad. Again, just to look at the depth one more time. if they can get the goals from the strikers that they've got in their team, they can hit the back of the net often enough. They really do have all the tools at their disposal to have that, good league campaign, getting to the top end of the table. But I think they're quietly setting themselves up now for a bit of a cup run to make their own little page in history again, to really, open up the new stadium with a real kind of historical landmark, in that sense. Start off in the way that you mean to carry on, winning cups, being a competitive team, being back up there at the top end of the table, pushing for European spots. And honestly, I can't say it enough. Like, the stadium you guys have got there is an absolute cathedral. Absolutely looks beautiful, and I can just see that becoming a real fortress where, I can imagine 3-4 months down the line, we're going to hear the stats about Everton haven't lost at their new stadium yet and all the rest of it, and they'll be quietly putting teams away, and with the flair they've got at their disposal when they're playing those teams that they should beat, they take them to task, they put them to the sword sort of thing. So I'm very optimistic on Everton. I did feel really bad for them after match day 1. That I don't necessarily think they should have beat Leeds or anything like that. It wasn't really that cutting edge in the game compared to the Brighton match, but they definitely didn't deserve to lose it. But what a response in the following match. Brighton, a very well regarded team and everything else. Very clinical game. Nice penalty save from Pickford, of course. But I think that's now going to be the springboard. That's really the season opener now for Everton. And with this transfer business falling in, we're not quite at Nottingham Forest levels of, wow, how good have we got it right now? But Everton are getting themselves back into that realm again of buying big players for big money and having everything at their fingertips to fulfill the potential they've been really wrestling with over the last 10 years or so, I would say. As always, really excited to see the comments on this one, see what your guys' thoughts, feelings and big takeaways are from Everton fans and from non-Everton fans. On screen and now some other stuff that I've made that the YouTube thinks you might enjoy. If you haven't done so already, please do hit the subscribe button down below. Let us know your thoughts and feelings. For me, Tyler Dibling really is, along with Grealish, those last little pieces in the puzzle. Great versatility, great flair, that X factor that you need in the Premier League to win these matches. And yeah, let me know what you think about all of this as well, of course. Stay out of trouble, have a great day, thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you on the next one.